Hi, and welcome to another conversation in the car. And in this conversation, I just wanted to share with you something that happened to me a couple of years ago. And it really was the biggest catalyst for the change that I have experienced and I have worked really hard to do for myself over the last couple of years. So it was just a day like any other day. I was in my office. I think I was working. I don't remember the little details of what that day actually was, but I just remember being in my office, and whether I was in a mindset of that anxiety and depression and just really hating myself kind of mindset that I've always had, I don't think so. I think I was probably more in a mindset of one that was a bit clearer. And that was just, for a moment in time, it was free of all of that stuff. Because if I was in that really shitty mindset, then this voice may not have come in. But it was one or the other. That was really all I was ever in regards to how I was inside my head. So I was in my office, and just out of the blue, this voice came into my mind, and it said, "You can change anything you don't like about yourself." I was like, okay, yes, are you sure? I don't know about that, because I am what I am. I have become this horrible woman that I don't like, who doesn't deserve anything, who isn't worthy of anything. I hate myself so much. There's nothing good about me. I don't like anything about me. So how am I supposed to change all of that? Because I am what I am. Because I truly, up until that point, and probably a little bit after, I truly believed that I didn't have, let's say I didn't have the ability. I didn't believe that I could change. I believed so wholeheartedly that I was what I was, and that I was going to be stuck that way for the rest of my life, that the ability to change could not make its way to me. So I stayed in that really small mindset of not believing that I could change. I wanted to change. I wanted so desperately to not feel the way I felt about myself. I didn't know how. I had tried and I tried and I tried over the years, many, many times, in whatever ways I could come up with. And none of it seemed to work. None of it, I mean, some of it may have worked for just a little while, but it never stuck. Nothing ever changed permanently. So when I heard that voice, as much as I didn't trust the words that were spoken to me, there was something about them. Because in all honesty, those words did not come from me. Those words were not mine. Those words were not from any part of me. Yes, they were inside of me, but I know that they were not mine. They came from somewhere else. Something else, much more kind and much more loving than I, gave those words to me as a message and as guidance to make the permanent changes that I was really, really looking for. Because I hated being the way that I was. I didn't know how to change any of it. So, from those words to this point in time, it has been a roller coaster. I have climbed mountains. I have fallen down mountains. I have fallen into ravines. I have crashed and I have burned. But like the phoenix, I have risen from the flames many, many times. And knowing that you can rise from the flames as many times as you need to really does help when it comes to changing all of those things that you don't like about yourself. But it's also finding the stuff inside of you amongst all of that stuff that you don't like. Actually, the hard part is finding all of the stuff, or finding at least one thing that you do like about yourself. And you grab onto that. And from there you can expand as you get rid of stuff that you don't like. You can expand the stuff that you do like. Because there is plenty of stuff in there. If you're anything like I was for decades of my life, I never saw anything good. I might have had like a little glimpse, but quickly and swiftly that was just knocked straight out of me. The thoughts in my mind just, they very brutally told me that that stuff wasn't true. And it gave me just that whole laundry list of fucking things that was wrong with me that I had always believed in and that I must continue to believe in, because those are the ones that are true. The things that are good about me, no, they're not true. Only the bad things are. And it fucks with your mind. It really does mess with your mind when you're trying to change and to think better and to feel better and to act better. It fucks with your mind when you do get to a place of feeling at least a little bit good, and then that just wipes it all out. And you have your feet taken out from under you, you fall down and you're just like, fuck, here I am again. But that's when you got to find that courage to just pick yourself up and keep going. And go, yep, I was knocked over, but next time I'm going to know that that's coming. I'm going to be aware of where it's coming from and why it's there in the first place. Always questioning what's going on inside of you in a kind and loving way, not in a judgmental or hateful way, but knowing that you get to figure out who you are amongst all of the mess that's inside of you. So there really are two different types of mindsets. And Carol Dweck, she's an American psychologist. She figured out and realized many, many years ago that people will either have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. And mine was very fixed. It was very fixated on the fact that I did not have what it took to change, that I personally was not able to change. But people who have a growth mindset, which is the mindset I now have, realize that you are able to change anything and everything about yourself. You really can. Yes, it might be hard work. It might be really fucking hard work, and you might need to just fucking go in gung-ho, guns blazing, and just get inside your mind and just really figure it out in as many ways as possible, how to change what's going on inside of there. And that's what I've done. I have had to go in kind of hard, really, in a loving way, but just really get inside of myself in a way that I never allowed myself to get in there before. And we have these thoughts, we have these feelings, and they repeat. Pardon me. We have these thoughts and these feelings inside of us that are on constant repeat. They are the same story from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And they just play and they play and they play. And because they're going on and on and on and on, and they're just there, they're just, playing in the background. You don't always notice it's there, but when you're trying to do something and then that same story keeps just kind of popping up and just getting that little bit louder, that's when you got to notice what's actually going on in the background. It's all of that subconscious stuff that influences how we behave and how we think and how we feel. So being able to change anything you don't like about yourself, it is possible. It is always possible. It's just finding the right ways for yourself. Because all of the things that I've done, and it's really hard to make a list of them, because there's been many, and a lot of them now I do those kind of things in the background. Some I do purposefully. Some of them just, they're now sort of sitting in the subconscious mind a little bit more so that they can just work nicely in the background. But all the things that I have done have been personal to who I am. I have become quite spiritual, if that's the label you'd like to put on it. I believe there is more to us than meets the eye. I have read a lot of books that have really been very eye-opening, mind-blowing as to what is beyond us. And it's nice to think that there's more to this than just what we see, because what's the fucking point otherwise? Why are we all here just living our same old crazy lives that have no meaning? But that's a story for another day. So yes, that part of me has really opened up, and it has allowed voices like that to come into my mind without sounding like I'm a bit crazy. But it is listening to that little quiet voice inside that helps you to realize these things about yourself and to give you the guidance you need for your own path of where you would like to go with who you are, and changing all of those things that you don't like about yourself. I do a lot of energy work. That has really helped to clear all of that hatred and all of that self-deprecation and all of that pain and trauma that I've been carrying inside of me, releasing all of that out of the energy that's swirling around inside of me. And it really, some hasn't worked. Not all of it works. Not every single time, but a lot of it has. I have released a lot of negative energy from my energy field. And that has really helped to make that change stick, to make it more permanent. Because sometimes just thinking and feeling stuff isn't enough. Affirmations are great, but they're just words. The words need to have the feelings that come with it. But if you struggle to find the feelings like I always did, then that's not going to work either. The feelings really are the root, I guess. You got the root of the tree, and the feelings of a person, I think, are the roots of that tree. Like, they really kind of just dig in and they stay there no matter what the feelings are, all of the good ones and all of the not so good ones. So that root, whatever those feelings are that kind of flow through those roots, that's going to influence how the tree grows. Does it grow strong and tall and powerful, or does it kind of just wither away and eventually dies? Change is scary when it's going in a completely different direction than where you normally go. And the mind certainly loves to come in and try and, it really will just want you to stay where you're safe and comfortable. That's what the mind loves to do. The mind is not a bad thing. I don't want to speak ill of my mind, even though it pisses me off and I hate all the shit that's inside of it. My mind just wants to keep me safe and comfortable in the stuff that I already know, the stuff that's familiar. But getting away from that and finding a new familiar, that's where the hardness lies. Going from here to here, in all of this space here, there is a mountain that you must climb. There's many mountains that you must climb in order to get there. But the thing is, when you get there, I don't mean to put you off, but there's always going to be something else. There is always going to be more to learn and more things to change and more things to develop and different ways to grow. That's just human life, I think. So it's not easy changing. So you've got to hold on to the determination to do it. Otherwise you just give up. And I've wanted to give up many times, and I have given up, but I haven't given up permanently. Because I know going back to here is not where I want to be. I need to get over to here. And then when I get from here, when I get to here, then I'm going to want to get, even further along. But when I get here, I'm going to feel better. I'm going to think better. I'm going to do better. And that really helps to keep that growth going. It really helps for those roots to sink into a really nourishing foundation, into a foundation that feels better. So change is hard. Absolutely. I won't deny that at all. But it's only as hard as you allow it to be. It's only as hard as, I guess, you've allowed things to be in your life. Some people go with the flow really easily. I do not. That is one lesson that I'm supposed to endure and learn in this lifetime, is to go with the flow and just to make things a little bit easier. I do like to do things the hard way. So maybe that's why things always feel that bit harder for me. But it's about knowing who you are in all of that change and figuring out what it is that you need. Yes, people can offer you advice, and me sitting here talking to you doesn't mean that I know exactly who you are and exactly what you need. Only you know exactly what you need and what steps you can take and paths you can go and all of that. You get to decide for yourself what that change looks like. So don't be put off by the hardness, however hard it may be for you. Because if you do, then you won't actually get anywhere. And then that is way worse than the hardness of actually doing the work in the first place, of falling back into that familiar comfort zone. You know deep inside of you how much you need to get out of that. So listen to that part of you and figure out exactly what you need. It really is worth it in the end, because at some point you're going to start to feel better about who you are. So use that as your starting point. That little bit of feeling good just takes you to the next step, and then that takes you to the next one, and then you just keep going. And it does get much, much easier from there. I promise. Doesn't mean you're not going to trip and stumble at some point. It may happen, but you get to know that change is happening. Be proud of where you've come and how far you've come. Look back and go, oh, wow, was that really me back then? Look at me now. Yes, I've got further to go, but let's not worry about that. Let's just appreciate and be so thankful for what we've become now. Don't let the mind trick you into believing that you haven't gotten anywhere, because that's going to be another wonderful lie that it likes to tell you. Your mind doesn't always know. It just likes to spin you the same shit it always has. So just remember, you can change anything you don't like about yourself. And you can do it in so many wonderful ways that work for you. So just remember that you can change anything you don't like about yourself. And you have the ability within you to know how to do that and what's going to work for you. Because you are worth it and you absolutely deserve it. So thank you for joining me for another conversation in the car, and I will see you next time.